Sometimes the purest generosity is born in the hardest moments, when we have nothing to give except our hearts. But what happens when you discover that the person who received your help wasn't who you thought they were? Welcome back. What's importante sabías of those 3,000 people felt that someone genuinely cared about their well-being. When she finished the presentation, Anna received a standing ovation that lasted several minutes. After her talk, several organizations approached to ask about the possibility of replicating the model in their own countries. Universities wanted to invite her to give talks on community medicine. Medical journals wanted to publish articles about her work. Anna felt overwhelmed by the attention, but also deeply satisfied to see that the message had resonated. That night at the Congress closing dinner, Anna was seated at a table with other health professionals from different countries when an elderly woman approached. "Excuse me, are you Ana Martinez?" Anna nodded. "My name is Dr. Elena Guerrero. I'm the Director of Community Health for the Pan American Health Organization." Anna felt her heart race. PAHO was one of the most important public health organizations in the Americas. "Your presentation today was extraordinary," Dr. Guerrero continued. "I'd like to talk to you about the possibility of developing a collaboration." During the following days, Anna met several times with PAHO representatives. The proposal they made was ambitious: develop a best practices manual based on the mobile clinic model, train teams in other countries to implement similar programs, and coordinate a Latin American network of community medical care. It would be a regional coordinator position, Dr. Guerrero explained, based here in Mexico, but with regular travel to other countries to supervise implementations. Anna felt tempted. It was an opportunity to amplify the impact of her work on a continental scale, but it also meant less time in local clinics, less direct contact with patients. "Could I continue working part-time in the mobile clinics here?" Anna asked. "It would be difficult," Dr. Guerrero admitted. "The position requires full dedication, but think about the impact. Instead of helping thousands of people, you could be helping millions." Anna asked for time to consider the offer. That night, she met with Rodrigo and Enrique to discuss the proposal. "It's the opportunity of your lifetime," Rodrigo said immediately. "You could transform community medical care throughout the continent." Enrique had a different perspective. "Big opportunities sometimes take us away from the things that really matter to us," he said. "Do you remember why we started this project?" Anna remembered perfectly. It had been because of a man trembling with cold on a Mexico City street. It had been because of the need to help real people with real problems. "But I also remember," Anna added, "that we wanted this model to spread, for more people to benefit." "True," Enrique said. "But the question is, what's the best way to spread the model? From a regional office coordinating programs, or from here, demonstrating every day that it works?" It was a complex question without easy answers. During the following days, Anna visited the mobile clinics with a different perspective. She observed every interaction with patients, every moment of human connection, every individual story. One afternoon, while treating a pregnant woman who had arrived with signs of malnutrition, Anna realized something important. "Esperanza," she responded with a shy smile. Anna smiled too. It wasn't the first time she had met someone named Esperanza at the clinics, but this time the name resonated in a special way. "Esperanza, have you been able to see a doctor during your pregnancy?" "No, doctor. I don't have money for private consultations, and at the public hospital the earliest appointment they gave me is in 3 months. Anna carefully examined Esperanza. She was in her 7th month of pregnancy, but the baby seemed small for its gestational age. She had clear signs of anemia and malnutrition. "Esperanza, I'm going to give you prenatal vitamins and iron supplements, but you also need to improve your nutrition. Do you have access to nutritious foods?" Esperanza lowered her gaze. "Sometimes, when there's work, when my husband finds some day job." Anna felt the familiar weight of indignation and sadness mixed together. A pregnant woman who didn't have access to adequate medical care or sufficient nutrition because she didn't have money. "Esperanza, I want you to come see us every week until your baby is born. Don't worry about the money. Just worry about eating well and resting." Esperanza's eyes filled with tears. "Really, doctor? Really?" After Esperanza left, Anna kept thinking. If she accepted the PAHO position, maybe she could create systems so that thousands of women like Esperanza would have better access to medical care. But it would also mean she wouldn't be present for individual cases like hers. "Y si tu amor valió tu heliu po una persona ta time, face to face, heart to heart, or is si tu amor valió tu heliu coreti systems that can help many people, even if in a more distant way." A week later, Anna had to give her answer to PAHO. The night before, she stayed awake going over all the arguments for and against. She had made lists of pros and cons, had consulted with friends and family, had meditated and prayed, but when the next morning came, her decision didn't come from the list or the advice. It came from the same place where the decision to give her blanket to a stranger on a cold night had come from. She called Dr. Guerrero. "Doctor, I've thought a lot about your offer. And what's your decision, Anna? It's an honor that you thought of me for this position, but I have to decline. May I ask why? It's an extraordinary opportunity. Because my place is here, with patients in the clinics. It's where I can do my best work. I respected that, though I hoped for a different answer. If you ever reconsider, we'll be interested in talking to you. After hanging up, Anna felt the same sense of relief she had felt when she turned down the hospital offer. She had again chosen heart over convenience. But this time there was something more. A deep certainty that she was exactly where she should be. 6 months after turning down the PIHO offer, Anna was reviewing the project numbers. The mobile clinics had served more than 5,000 people. They had expanded their services to include not only medical care, but also health education programs, support groups for different medical conditions, and a referral system for complicated cases. Esperanza had given birth to a healthy girl. She named her Anna, in honor of the doctor who had cared for her during pregnancy. Doña Maria, the diabetic lady, had trained 15 more people to care for their diabetes, and now led a support group that met weekly. Carlos, the young man who had overcome his addiction, had completed a health technician course and now worked officially as part of the clinic team. But there was something more. Other organizations had begun replicating the mobile clinic model in different parts of Mexico and other Latin American countries, not through a coordinated program from above, but because the model had demonstrated its effectiveness and had spread organically. Do you know what's most incredible? Ana told Rodrigo one afternoon, while reviewing reports from organizations that had adopted versions of the mobile clinic model. What? That the impact is multiplying without us having to control it. Each organization adapts the model to their local context, but maintains the basic principles. Listen, respect, treat each person with dignity. Rodrigo smiled. It's like the Otomi blanket. The patterns are transmitted from one weaver to another, from one generation to another, but each blanket is unique. Ana felt a deep connection with that analogy. Exactly. We don't need to control how the model spreads. We just need to keep demonstrating that it works. One Friday afternoon, while Ana was finishing seeing the last patients of the week, Enrique approached with an envelope in his hands. Ana, this arrived for you. It was a handwritten letter. Ana opened it and began to read. Dear Dr. Ana, my name is Patricia Morales. I'm a medical student at the University of Guadalajara. I saw your presentation at the International Red Cross Congress. I found it on YouTube, and it changed my perspective on what I want to do with my career. I'm in my final year of studies, and have to choose a specialty. All my professors recommend that I choose something that can generate good income. Cardiology, dermatology, plastic surgery. But after seeing your presentation, I realized that what I really want to do is community medicine. I want to work with vulnerable populations, like you. Would it be possible for you to allow me to do a month-long rotation at your mobile clinics? I can cover my transportation and accommodation expenses. I just want to learn from your experience. Ana felt deep emotion reading the letter. Look at this, she told Enrique, passing him the letter. Enrique read it, and smiled. It's the 4th similar letter we've received this month. Really? Yes. Medical students, nurses, social workers. Many want to come learn from the model. Ana realized they were creating something that went beyond the mobile clinics. They were inspiring a new generation of health professionals to work differently. What do you think about developing a formal internship program? Ana suggested. I think it's excellent. We could receive students and young professionals, teach them the model, and then send them back to their places of origin to implement local versions. During the following months, Ana and her team developed a 6-week training program for health professionals interested in community medicine. The program combined direct work in the mobile clinics with seminars on cultural respect, effective comunicación with vulnerable populations, and sustainable program development. The first group of participants included Patricia, the student from Guadalajara, and 7 other professionals from different Latin American countries. Ana was surprised by how much she enjoyed teaching. Each student's question forced her to articulate principles she had learned intuitively. Each discussion helped her better understand her own work. But what excited her most was seeing how each participant adapted the lessons to their own context. Patricia, for example, was especially interested in working with rural communities that spoke indigenous languages. In Jalisco, there are many Huichol communities that don't have access to culturally appropriate health services. She explained to Ana, I want to develop a program that combines traditional medicine with Western medicine. Miguel, a nurse from Colombia, wanted to work with populations displaced by armed conflict. In my country, there are millions of people who have lost their homes due to violence, he explained. They need not only medical care but also psychological and social support. Sofia, a doctor from Peru, was interested in working with Amazon communities. The distances in the jungle make the traditional model of fixed clinics impossible, she reflected. But river mobile clinics could work very well. At the end of the first training program, Ana organized a simple graduation ceremony. Each participant presented their plan to implement a community medicine program in their place of origin. Anna felt deeply moved hearing each presentation. What had begun as a spontaneous gesture of compassion on a cold night had become a network of professionals committed to changing how medicine is practiced in Latin America. 2 years after that first winter night, Anna was preparing her presentation for the Second International Congress on Community Medicine. This time she wouldn't be the only one presenting about the mobile clinic model. Patricia would be presenting about her work with Huichol communities. Miguel would talk about care for displaced populations. Sofia would share her experience with river clinics in the Amazon. The night before the Congress, Anna met with Rodrigo and Enrique at the project's main office. "Did you ever imagine we'd get this far?" Anna asked. "Honestly, no," Rodrigo admitted. "When I uploaded that video 2 years ago, I just wanted people to see an example of true generosity. I didn't think it would become all this." Enrique smiled. "I knew something special was happening when I saw how Anna treated patients in the first mobile clinics. But I didn't imagine it would spread so far either." Anna reflected on the journey they had taken together. "Do you know what surprises me most?" "What?" Rodrigo and Enrique asked in unison. "That at every step of the way, every important decision, I've had to choose between what seemed convenient and what felt right. And every time I chose what felt right, even though it seemed risky, doors opened in ways I never would have imagined." Rodrigo nodded thoughtfully. "It's as if the universe rewards authenticity, or as if authenticity is the only real way to create something lasting," Enrique added. "Have you noticed how decisions made from the heart, even though they seem risky at first, often lead us down paths we never would have imagined, but that turn out to be exactly where we needed to be?" The Congress was a resounding success. Anna felt proud not only of her own presentation, but of seeing Patricia, Miguel, Sofia, and dozens of other professionals presenting variations of the community medicine model adapted to their local contexts. During the closing cocktail, a young woman Anna didn't recognize approached her. "Excuse me, are you Ana Martinez?" "Yes, how can I help you?" "My name is Claudia Herrera. I'm Rodrigo Herrera's daughter." Anna was surprised. Rodrigo had never talked to her much about having children. "Nice to meet you, Claudia. Is your dad here?" "Yes, he's somewhere around the reception," Claudia said with a smile. "But I wanted to talk to you alone." Anna felt curious. "Yes? What did you want to talk about?" "I wanted to thank you for what you've done for my dad." Anna felt confused. "What have I done for him?" "You've changed him. Completely." Claudia paused, searching for the right words. "My dad and I were estranged for many years. He was so focused on making money, on building his business empire, that he lost sight of what really matters." Anna listened attentively. "When I was a teenager, I tried to talk to him about social inequality, about environmental responsibility, about using his wealth to help others. But he always told me I was a naive idealist, that the real world didn't work that way." Claudia smiled sadly. "Eventually I stopped trying. I stopped talking to him."
Imuvet un ador country to study, and basically cat communication con tejime. "And what changed?" Anna asked gently. "A year ago he called me. He told me about the mobile clinic project, about you, about everything you had been doing. At first I thought it was another one of his public relations strategies." Anna felt a little uncomfortable, remembering her own initial doubts about Rodrigo's motivations. "But then he sent me videos from the clinics, articles about the project, patient testimonials, and for the first time in my life I saw my dad talking about something that had nothing to do with making money." Anna felt a deep warmth in her chest. "I returned to Mexico 6 months ago," Claudia continued, "and my dad is a different person. He still manages his businesses, but now he uses them as tools to generate resources for social projects. He talks about real people, real problems, real solutions." Anna didn't know what to say, but most importantly, Claudia added, is that now I can have real conversations with him. For the first time in my adult life, I feel like I know my dad as a person, not just as a businessman. Anna felt tears forming in her eyes. "Claudia, that's beautiful, but the change was made by your dad. You showed him a different path. You taught him that being successful doesn't have to mean being cold or calculating. You demonstrated that compassion and effectiveness can go hand in hand." At that moment, Rodrigo approached the group. "Anna, I see you've already met my daughter." "Yes, Claudia was telling me how you've changed, Dad," Claudia said with a smile. Rodrigo blushed slightly. "Claudia always exaggerates," he murmured, but Anna could see pride and affection in his eyes. "Do I exaggerate?" Claudia asked playfully. "Aren't you the one who now dedicated 60% of your time to social projects?" "Well, maybe you don't exaggerate that much," Rodrigo admitted. Anna observed the interaction between father and daughter and felt deeply moved. They hadn't only created a successful community medical care program, they had helped repair a family relationship that had been broken for years. That night, back in her apartment, Anna sat on her sofa with the otomi blanket over her legs and reflected on everything that had happened in the last 2 years. It had started with a simple gesture of compassion, a blanket shared with a stranger on a cold night, and it had transformed into something she never would have thought possible. Thousands of people had received medical care they otherwise wouldn't have been able to access. Dozens of health professionals had learned new ways to practice community medicine. Families had reconciled. Communities had been strengthened. But perhaps most important was something more subtle. They had demonstrated that it was possible to create effective social programs based on respect, dignity, and genuine compassion. Anna realized her grandmother was right about Otomi patterns. Each blanket carried the stories of all the women who had woven before, and each gesture of kindness carried the stories of all the acts of compassion that had come before, while inspiring new acts of kindness that would come after. 6 months later, Anna received a call she didn't expect. "Anna, this is Esperanza." Anna took a moment to place the voice. "Esperanza? The Esperanza I treated when you were pregnant?" "Yes, doctor. And baby Anna is perfect. She's 10 months old and very healthy." Anna smiled. "I'm so glad to hear that. How are you?" "Very well, doctor. And I'm calling because I want to propose something to you." Anna felt curious. "Yes? What do you have in mind?" "I've been thinking a lot about how the mobile clinics helped me when I needed it most, and I want to give back that help." "How?" "I've finished a community health promoter course, and I'd like to work with you, help other pregnant women who are in the situation I was in." Anna felt deeply moved. "Esperanza, that's wonderful. Of course we'd love for you to join the team. There's something else, doctor." "What?" "I know many women in my neighborhood who could benefit from the mobile clinics, but who don't dare go because they feel shame or fear. And what do you propose?" "I could be like a bridge between you and them. I could visit them at their homes, explain the services, accompany them to the clinics the first time." Anna realized. Esperanza was describing exactly the type of program expansion they had been considering. Community workers who could connect with populations that didn't reach the mobile clinics on their own. "Esperanza, I think you have an excellent idea. When can you start?" During the following months, Esperanza became one of the project's most valuable collaborators. Her personal experience as a beneficiary of the clinics gave her unique credibility to talk to other women in vulnerable situations. But there was something more.
Esperanza understood cultural dynamics, specific concerns, emotional barriers que prevente son pais punalveti Pauline medical help. Dr. Anna. Esperanza told her one day, "There's a lady in the building where I live who's very sick, but doesn't want to go to the doctor because she says doctors are going to scold her for having waited so long. What did you tell her?" "I told her my story. I told her how you treated me when I arrived scared and embarrassed. I explained that at the mobile clinics they don't scold anyone. They just help." "And what happened?" "She agreed to let me accompany her to the clinic next week." Anna smiled. Esperanza was doing exactly the type of work they needed, building bridges of trust between the clinics and communities. A year later, the Team Community Promoter Program had expanded to include 12 people, all former beneficiaries of the mobile clinics who had decided to give back the help they had received. The model was simple but powerful. People who had lived situations of vulnerability and had received dignified and effective care at the clinics became ambassadors for the program in their communities. "It's like a network of trust," Anna explained during a presentation at a local university. "When someone who has lived your experience tells you that a service is good and will treat you with respect, it's much more credible than any advertising campaign." One afternoon, Anna was reviewing the project's annual reports when she noticed a surprising number. "Rodrigo, come see this," she called from her desk. Rodrigo approached. "What did you find?" "We served 10,000 people last year." Rodrigo looked at the numbers with surprise. 10,000, 95% of our patients say they would recommend the clinics to family and friends. That's even more incredible. Anna leaned back in her chair, reflecting on what those figures meant. "Do you know what seems most impressive to me?" "What?" "It's not just that we served 10,000 people. It's that each of those 10,000 people felt we treated them as individuals, not as numbers." Rodrigo nodded. "Do you remember what you said in your first presentation? That the most effective medicine is the one that treats each person as a complete human being." "Yes, I remember. I think these numbers prove you were right." That night, Anna returned to her apartment feeling deep satisfaction. They had not only managed to create a successful and sustainable program, they had proven it was possible to provide quality medical care while maintaining the values of respect, dignity, and compassion that had been important from the beginning. But there was something else that excited her. She had begun receiving letters and emails from other countries where organizations had implemented versions of the mobile clinic model. A doctor from Ecuador wrote, "We have adapted your model to work with indigenous communities in the Andes. The results have been extraordinary." A nurse from Guatemala reported, "We're using the community promoter model in marginal neighborhoods in Guatemala City. The community response has exceeded all our expectations." A social worker from El Salvador shared, "Your presentation on community medicine completely changed the way our health center works with vulnerable populations."
Anna realized the project's impact was multiplying in ways she never would have imagined. Not through a massive institutional program, but organically, through individual professionals who had decided to adopt a different approach in their work. Have you ever witnessed how a simple but powerful idea spreads naturally, inspiring others to create their own versions adapted to their contexts? 3 years after that first winter night, Anna was preparing for a special celebration. The mobile clinics were organizing an event to commemorate the project's 3rd anniversary, but it wasn't going to be a traditional celebration. Instead of a formal event with speeches and recognitions, they had decided to organize a community health fair in the city's Central Park. The idea had emerged from the community promoters themselves. Dr. Ana, Esperanza had suggested during a planning meeting, instead of celebrating just among ourselves, why don't we have a celebration that also serves for more people to learn about the clinics? What do you have in mind? Ana had asked. A fair where people can come, learn about services, get basic checkups, but also where we celebrate all the beautiful stories that have happened in these 3 years. The idea had appealed to everyone. Enrique suggested including music and traditional food from different regions. Rodrigo proposed inviting organizations from other countries that had adapted the model. Ana decided to create a photography exhibition that would tell the project's story through images. The day of the fair dawned sunny and warm.
Ana arrived early at the park to help with setup, and was surprised to see how many people were already working on preparations. There were medical team members setting up stations for blood pressure and glucose checkups. Community promoters were organizing tables with information about different services. Volunteers who had known the clinics as patients were helping with decoration. But what excited Ana most was seeing Patricia arrive from Guadalajara, Miguel from Colombia, and Sofia from Peru. They had traveled especially to participate in the celebration. We weren't going to miss this, Patricia told Ana when they met. This project changed our lives. It was important to be here. During the day, thousands of people visited the fair. Some came attracted by the free health services. Others came for the music and food. Many arrived not knowing exactly what to expect. But Ana observed something beautiful. Many of the people who arrived as curious onlookers stayed to listen to the stories being shared at different fair stations. At one tent, Esperanza and other community promoters told their experiences as beneficiaries and then collaborators of the project. At another, Patricia, Miguel and Sofia explained how they had adapted the model to their own countries and contexts. At a third, doctors and nurses from the original team talked about what they had learned working differently. Ana moved from one station to another, observing conversations, listening to stories, feeling the energy of the community that had formed around the project. In the mid-afternoon, Rodrigo approached her. "Ana, there's someone who wants to meet you." Ana turned and saw an elderly man, about 60 years old, who carried a cane and had a shy smile. "Ana, let me introduce you to Don Aurelio. He was one of our first patients at the mobile clinics." Ana immediately remembered Don Aurelio. He had come to the clinics with uncontrolled diabetes and hypertension. For months he had been a regular patient, and Ana had seen how his health gradually improved with consistent treatment. "Don Aurelio, how nice to see you." "Very well, doctor, thanks to you. But I didn't come just to say hello." Don Aurelio extended an envelope to Ana. "What's this?" "A letter, but not just from me. It's from my whole family." Ana opened the envelope and found several handwritten pages in different handwriting. "My son wrote on behalf of all of us," Don Aurelio explained. "We wanted you to know what the care you gave me meant to our family." Ana began reading silently, but Don Aurelio interrupted her. "If you don't mind, I'd like to read you a part out loud." Ana nodded, already feeling tears forming in her eyes. Don Aurelio took the letter and began reading with a trembling but clear voice. "Dr. Ana, when my dad started going to the mobile clinics 2 years ago, he was very sick and very discouraged. He had been to several doctors who treated him as if he were a nuisance, as if being poor meant he didn't deserve quality care." Ana listened, perfectly remembering the condition Don Aurelio had arrived in the first time. "But you treated him differently. You didn't just give him medicines. You gave him hope. You gave him dignity. You made him feel that his life mattered." Don Aurelio's voice broke slightly, but he continued reading. "My dad lived 2 years longer than doctors had predicted. 2 years of quality, 2 years in which he could see his grandchildren grow, 2 years in which he felt valued and cared for." Ana realized Don Aurelio was using the past tense. "Don Aurelio," she began to ask gently. "My dad died 3 months ago, doctor," said the man who was reading the letter, who Ana now realized was Don Aurelio's son. But he died in peace, knowing he had received the best possible care, knowing there were people who really cared about him. Ana felt tears running down her cheeks. "The last thing my dad asked me before he died," the son continued, "was to come thank you personally, not just for the medicines or exams, but for treating him like a person, for listening to him, for making him feel he mattered." Ana couldn't contain her tears any longer. She approached Don Aurelio's son and hugged him. "Your dad was a wonderful person," she murmured.
It was a privilege to care for him. For us it was a blessing to find you, he responded. That night, after the fair ended, Ana, Rodrigo and Enrique stayed at the park helping to clean up. They worked in silence, each processing the day's emotions. It was an incredible day, Enrique finally said. Yes, Rodrigo agreed. But Don Aurelio's story was hard, Ana completed. But it was also beautiful. His family felt he had died with dignity. That's all anyone can ask for. They remained silent for a few more moments. Do you know what stayed with me from today? Ana asked. What? Rodrigo and Enrique asked.
It wasn't the numbers of how many people we've served, or how many countries have adopted the model, or how many awards we've won. Ana paused, searching for the right words. It was seeing Esperanza explain to a young woman how the clinics had helped her during her pregnancy. It was hearing Patricia tell how her work with Huichol communities is transforming medical care in Jalisco. It was receiving Don Aurelio's family's letter. Individual stories, Enrique said. Exactly. In the end, it all comes down to individual stories of people who felt seen, heard, valued. Rodrigo nodded thoughtfully. Ana, do you remember what you told me that first time we met at the hotel? When you told me you weren't any kind of heroine, that you had just done the right thing. Yes, I remember. I think you were right then, and I think you're still right now. You're not a heroine. You're something better. What's that? You're a person who does the right thing consistently, without seeking credit, without calculating benefits. And that's rarer and more valuable than any heroism. Ana felt moved by Rodrigo's words, but also a little uncomfortable with the recognition. It's not just me, she said. It's all of us. Every team member, every community promoter, every volunteer, even you, Rodrigo. You started this journey seeking to understand something outside your experience. You made mistakes at first, lied about your situation, but when you had the opportunity to do the right thing, you did it, and you've kept doing it for 3 years. Rodrigo was quiet for a moment. Thank you, he finally murmured. Coming from you, that means a lot. Enrique smiled. Do you know what's most impressive about all this? What? Ana and Rodrigo asked. That it all started with a spontaneous gesture of kindness. Ana didn't think about creating a social project when she gave her blanket to Rodrigo. She just saw someone who needed help and helped. Ana nodded. And look at everything that came from that moment. It's as if genuine kindness has its own force, Rodrigo reflected. Once you release it into the world, it begins to multiply in ways you never could have planned. As they finished picking up the last materials from the fair, Ana felt deeply grateful, not just for the project's success, but for the personal journey she had lived during those 3 years. She had learned that life's most important decisions aren't made with the head, but with the heart. She had discovered that compassion isn't weakness, but a strength that can transform entire systems. She had confirmed that treating each person with dignity isn't just morally right, but also the most effective way to create real change. But perhaps the most important thing she had learned was that none of us can predict the complete impact of our actions. A simple gesture of kindness can create waves that extend much further than we could ever imagine. 5 years after that first winter night, Ana was preparing to give her keynote presentation at the World Congress on Community Medicine in Geneva. The mobile clinic model had spread to more than 20 countries, and Ana had been invited as the keynote speaker for the world's most important event in her field. But that morning, before preparing for the Congress, Ana had something more important to do. Rodrigo had called her the night before with news that had deeply moved her. They met at a cafe near the National Medical Center, the same hospital where Ana had worked as a nurse years before. Ana, there's something I want to show you, Rodrigo told her when he arrived. He passed her a tablet with an article from a Swiss newspaper. University Hospital of Geneva implements Mexican mobile clinic model. Ana read aloud. She continued reading the article, which described how Switzerland's most important hospital had decided to adopt the model developed in Mexico to serve refugee and immigrant populations. Ana, Rodrigo said, your presentation tomorrow isn't just about our project. It's about a model that's changing community medicine globally. Ana felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of what Rodrigo was showing her. Do you realize how incredible this is? Rodrigo continued. 5 years ago you gave your blanket to a stranger on a Mexico City street. Tomorrow you're going to speak to doctors from around the world about a medical care model that started with that gesture. Ana looked at the article again, reading about how Swiss doctors were learning from a model developed by a Mexican nurse to serve the most vulnerable. It's surreal, she murmured. It's justice, Rodrigo corrected. For centuries rich countries have dictated how medicine should be practiced in poor countries. Now a developing country is teaching the developed world how to better care for the vulnerable. That afternoon, Ana received an unexpected call at her hotel. Ana, this is Esperanza. Esperanza, how are you? Is everything okay? Everything's fine. I'm calling because I wanted to wish you luck for your presentation tomorrow. Ana felt moved that Esperanza had remembered. Thank you, Esperanza. It means a lot to me. Ana,
There's something I want you to know. What? Baby Anna. My daughter is 5 years old now, and I always tell her the story of why she's named Anna. Anna felt a lump in her throat. I tell her about the doctor who cared for me when I was just a scared, poor pregnant woman. I tell her about how that doctor treated me with respect and affection when others made me feel like I was a bother. Esperanza paused. And do you know what my daughter told me last week? What? She told me that when she grows up she also wants to be a doctor like you. She wants to help pregnant women who are scared. Anna couldn't contain her tears. Esperanza, that's the most beautiful thing you could have told me. I want you to know that when you give your presentation tomorrow, you won't be speaking just for yourself. You'll be speaking for all of us, for the women who received care when we needed it, for those who became community promoters, for our children who are growing up with a different idea of what it means to be a doctor. After hanging up with Esperanza, Anna sat in her hotel room, looking out the window toward Lake Geneva, reflecting on the extraordinary journey that had brought her to this moment. The next day, when Anna stepped up to the podium at the Geneva Conference Center to give her keynote presentation, she wore a necklace woven with the same otomi patterns as the blanket she had given away 5 years earlier. Esperanza had sent it to her as a good luck gift. Anna began her presentation, not with statistics or medical theories, but with a story. 5 years ago, I was walking down a Mexico City street after a 12-hour shift as a nurse at a public hospital. I was tired, it was very cold, and all I wanted was to get home. The audience of more than 1,000 health professionals from around the world listened attentively, but I saw a man trembling with cold in the street, and I couldn't keep walking. I gave him the only blanket I had. It was a special blanket woven by my grandmother with traditional otomi patterns. It was worth more to me than any material thing I had. Anna paused, looking at the attentive faces in the audience. I didn't know in that moment that this man wasn't really homeless. I didn't know there was a security camera recording the moment. I didn't know that gesture would become a viral video that would change my life. Anna told the whole story. Rodrigo's initial deception, her distrust, the decision to give the project a chance, the obstacles they faced, the betrayals, the doubts, the difficult decisions to turn down apparently better opportunities. But the most important thing I want to share with you today, Anna said toward the end of her presentation, isn't the techniques we developed, or the numbers we achieved. It's the fundamental lesson we learned, that the most effective medicine is the one that treats each person as a complete human being, with dignity, with respect, with time to listen. Anna looked directly at the cameras that were broadcasting the presentation live. Each of you has the opportunity to make a difference in your patients' lives. You don't need extraordinary resources or advanced technology. You just need to remember that behind every symptom is a person, behind every diagnosis is a story, behind every treatment is a human being who deserves to be treated with kindness. When Anna finished her presentation, the audience stood in an ovation that lasted several minutes. But what moved her most weren't the applause, but seeing in the audience the faces of Patricia, Miguel, Sofia, and dozens of other professionals who had adopted the model in their own countries. After the presentation, Anna was surrounded by dozens of doctors, nurses, and social workers who wanted to learn more about the model. Until very late that night, Anna was answering questions, sharing resources, connecting people from different countries who wanted to collaborate. But the conversation that marked her most was with a young doctor from Bangladesh. "Dr. Anna, your presentation made me cry," he told her. "I work in a refugee camp where we serve thousands of people every day. It's easy to lose sight of the fact that each patient is an individual person." "I understand perfectly," Anna responded. "We all face that pressure. But your story reminded me why I decided to study medicine. I want to ask you, how do I maintain that humanized perspective when I see 150 patients a day?" Anna reflected for a moment. "With each patient, no matter how much of a hurry I'm in, I take 5 seconds to look them in the eyes and remember they're a complete person, not just a disease."
5 seconds to ask myself, how would I want to be treated if I were this person in this situation? That's human. What's important is trying again the next day. That night, Anna returned to her hotel feeling exhausted but deeply satisfied. Her phone was full of congratulatory messages from colleagues around the world, but the message that moved her most was from Enrique. "Anna, I watched your presentation online from Mexico. You were speaking not just for yourself but for all of us who know that medicine can be different, that it can be more human. Thank you for taking our message to the world." 2 days later, Anna was back in Mexico City. Rodrigo was waiting for her at the airport with a surprise. The entire mobile clinic team was there to welcome her. "How did you know what time I was arriving?" Anna asked, moved by the gesture. "Because we all wanted to be here when our global ambassador returned," Esperanza said with a huge smile. As they left the airport, Anna looked at the people surrounding her. Rodrigo, Enrique, Esperanza, and dozens of doctors, nurses, community promoters,
and volunteers who had become an extended family over the past 5 years. She realized that her presentation in Geneva had been important, but that the real work continued to be here, in the mobile clinics, serving patient by patient, story by story. Ready to get back to work? Anna asked as they got into the cars. Always, several responded in unison. As they drove through Mexico City's familiar streets, Anna reflected on everything she had learned on her journey. She had started as a nurse who wanted to help one person on a cold night. She had become the leader of a global community medicine movement. But deep down, she remained the same person, someone who believed that every human being deserves to be treated with dignity, respect and compassion. And that, she realized, was all she had needed to change the world. A year later, Anna was in her office reviewing annual reports when Rodrigo entered with a mysterious smile. "Anna, I have something for you." He passed her an elegant envelope with the federal government seal. "What's this?" Anna asked, intrigued. "Open it." Anna opened the envelope and found an official letter. When she began reading, she felt she couldn't breathe. The President of the Republic has the honor of inviting Dr. Ana Martinez to receive the Medal of Civil Merit for her exceptional contribution to the development of community medicine in Mexico and her impact on international public health. Anna looked up at Rodrigo, speechless. "Anna, you're going to receive the country's highest civilian distinction." "I can't believe it," Anna murmured. "Believe it. You've earned it." But what came after the letter surprised her even more. The president wanted not only to give her the medal, but also to announce that the mobile clinic model would become national health policy, being implemented in all 32 states of the country. "Anna," Rodrigo told her, "your otomi blanket is going to become national health policy." The medal ceremony was held at the National Palace, attended by government officials, representatives from international health organizations, and dozens of medical professionals. But Anna insisted that among the guests were also the people who had really made the project possible, Esperanza and the other community promoters, patients who had been beneficiaries of the clinics, and all the medical staff who had worked at the mobile clinics over the years. When Anna went up to the podium to receive the medal, she wore a traditional otomi dress that had been woven especially for the occasion by the same woman who had recreated her blanket years before. "Mr. President," Anna said in her acceptance speech, "I received this medal not personally, but representing thousands of health professionals who believe that medicine can be more human, more just, more dignified." Anna looked toward the audience, searching for the familiar faces of her colleagues. "This medal belongs to every doctor who takes extra time to listen to an anxious patient. It belongs to every nurse who treats a person in a vulnerable situation with respect. It belongs to every community worker who builds bridges of trust between health services and the communities that need them most." Anna paused, feeling emotion in her voice. "But above all, this medal belongs to every person who has suffered discrimination or mistreatment in a health service, and who despite that hasn't lost hope of being treated with dignity." After the ceremony, while Anna greeted guests, an elderly woman she didn't recognize approached her. "Dr. Anna, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Luz Maria Herrera." Anna felt curious about the last name. "Herrera? Are you related to Rodrigo?" The woman smiled. "I'm his mother." Anna was surprised. Rodrigo had never talked much to her about his family. "It's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am." "Doctor, I wanted to thank you personally." "Thank me for what?" "For giving me back my son." Anna felt confused. "I don't understand. Rodrigo and I were estranged for many years. He was so focused on making money, on building his business empire, that he lost sight of everything else." Anna listened attentively. "I tried many times to talk to him about using his wealth to help others, about remembering where he came from, about the values I taught him when he was a child, but he told me I was an idealist, that the real world didn't work that way." Mrs. Luz Maria paused. "But you taught him it was possible to be successful and compassionate at the same time. You showed him that helping others isn't weakness, but strength." Anna felt deeply moved. "Ma'am, Rodrigo is the one who decided to change. I just showed him a different perspective." "Exactly. And that's why I'm grateful to you. For the first time in years, I can feel proud of the man my son became." That night, Anna returned to her apartment, carrying not only the presidential medal, but also the certainty that her work had transcended widely what she had imagined possible. She sat on her sofa, with the otomi blanket spread over her legs, and reflected on the extraordinary journey she had lived. It had started with a spontaneous gesture of compassion, and had become a movement that was changing the practice of medicine in multiple countries. But more importantly, it had helped reconcile families, had inspired a new generation of health professionals, and had demonstrated that it's possible to create medical care systems based on respect and dignity. Anna looked at the medal she had left on the coffee table. It was beautiful, but what she really valued wasn't the medal itself, but what it represented: recognition that kindness and compassion aren't obstacles to effectiveness, but their strongest foundations. Her phone rang, interrupting her reflections. Ana, this is Esperanza. Hi, Esperanza. How are you? Very well. I'm calling because I wanted to tell you something. Tell me. My daughter Ana turned 6 last week. Ana smiled. She was always excited to hear about little Ana. And how did you celebrate? We had a small party at home. But what I want to tell you is what my daughter told her little friends when they asked why she was named Ana. Ana felt curious. What did she tell them? She told them she was named Ana after a doctor who helps people not just with medicines, but also with love. And then she added, when I grow up I'm going to be a doctor like her, and I'm going to help people with love too. Ana felt tears forming in her eyes. Esperanza, that's beautiful. But there's something else, Ana. Yes? After my daughter said that, 3 other children at the party said they also wanted to be doctors who help with love. Ana burst into tears. Not from sadness, but from deep and overwhelming joy. Ana, are you okay? I'm perfect, Esperanza. Thank you for telling me that. It's the most beautiful gift you could give me. After hanging up with Esperanza, Ana sat on her sofa, feeling complete satisfaction. She realized that the most important impact of her work wasn't in statistics, or awards, or national policies. It was in a 6-year-old girl who had decided she wanted to be a doctor who helps with love. It was in a new generation of children growing up with the idea that medicine can be compassionate. It was in the certainty that values of respect, dignity, and love weren't impossible utopias, but practical foundations for building a better world. Ana looked out the window toward the city that had been the stage for this entire extraordinary story. The streets where she had once walked as an exhausted and worried nurse were now traveled by her as a globally recognized leader. But deep down, she remained the same person who had seen a stranger trembling with cold and had decided to help. And that person, she realized, was all she had needed to be to change the world. Have you ever lived through or known someone who has gone through something similar? Someone who started with a simple act of kindness and saw how it transformed into something much bigger? I'd love to know your story. Tell me in the comments if you've witnessed how genuine compassion can create waves that extend much further than we could ever imagine. And if this story moved you, if it made you reflect on your own capacity to make a difference in the world, I ask you to give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to remember that the smallest gestures can have the biggest impact. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories that inspire you to believe in the transformative power of human kindness.
Some share their own stories of difficult moments on the streets. Others confess that the video had inspired them to help someone else. Ana didn't know whether to feel honored or uncomfortable. She had never sought recognition. She had only done what her heart dictated in that moment. But what happened next left her completely speechless. A reporter from a local news channel arrived at the hospital asking for her. Ana had tried to avoid her, but the woman was persistent. I'm Carmen Rodriguez, from Channel 7. I'd like to talk to you about the video that went viral, the reporter told her with a professional smile. There's nothing to say, Ana responded, trying to continue with her work. I just helped someone who needed it. Anyone would have done the same. But not everyone did, Carmen insisted. That video has inspired hundreds of people to help people living on the streets. Don't you think that's extraordinary? Ana stopped. The word extraordinary made her uncomfortable. She hadn't done anything extraordinary. She had done the right thing. The human minimum. Look, Ana said, turning to look directly at the camera Carmen had brought. If that video helps more people help those who need it, I'm glad. But I'm no heroine. I'm just a nurse who saw someone getting cold and did what I could. The interview was broadcast that same night. Ana watched it from her small apartment, feeling strange seeing herself on television. She didn't recognize herself in that version of herself that the media was creating. But what came next surprised her even more. The next day she received a call on her phone, an unknown number. Ana Martinez? Asked a male voice on the other end of the line. Yes, who's speaking? My name is Rodrigo Herrera. I'm the person you helped that night. Ana felt as if the world stopped for a moment. I don't understand, she murmured. I'd like to meet with you. There's something important I need to tell you. Something about that night that you don't know. The man's voice sounded different from how she remembered it. Clearer, more articulated. Ana felt a strange sensation in her stomach. Where? She asked, although part of her wanted to hang up the phone. At the cafe in the Hotel Marquis. Tomorrow at 6 in the evening. Please, it's very important. Ana hung up the phone with her mind full of questions. Why would he want to meet at such a luxurious hotel? How had he gotten her phone number? And why did his voice sound so different? Something didn't add up, but her curiosity was stronger than her doubts. The next day, Ana arrived at the Hotel Marquis 5 minutes before the appointment. She had never been in such an elegant place. The marble gleamed under the crystal lamps, the leather sofas looked impeccable, and the aroma of expensive coffee floated in the air. She felt out of place with her nurse's uniform fresh from her shift. She looked around for the man she had helped a week ago, but didn't find him. Ana? She heard a voice behind her.
She turned around and found herself face to face with a well-dressed man, around 40 years old, perfectly combed hair, elegant suit, and shoes that probably cost more than her monthly salary. "Sorry, I think there's been a mistake," Anna said. "I'm waiting for someone else." The man smiled sadly. "It's me, Anna. I'm Rodrigo, the man you gave your blanket to that night." Anna stared at him intently. The eyes, they were the same eyes, but everything else, "I don't understand," she murmured, feeling dizzy. "Please, sit with me. I'll explain everything." They sat at a secluded table. Rodrigo ordered 2 coffees, but Anna couldn't concentrate on anything other than trying to process what she was seeing. That night, Rodrigo began, "I wasn't really a homeless person." The words fell like stones in Anna's stomach. "What do you mean you weren't really? I'm a businessman, owner of several companies. I have more money than I could spend in an entire lifetime." Rodrigo paused, searching for the right words. "But I also have a guilt that eats me from the inside." Anna felt a mixture of confusion, sadness, and something that dangerously resembled betrayal. "Are you telling me you lied to me?" "I'm telling you I was living a lie. But your gesture that night showed me something real, something I had lost a long time ago." Rodrigo told her everything. How for months he had been visiting the city's streets, disguising himself as a homeless person, trying to really understand what it meant to have nothing. It had started as an experiment, a way to first-hand understand the reality he saw from the windows of his office in one of the city's tallest skyscrapers. At first it was curiosity, he admitted. "I wanted to understand what it's like to live without resources, without support, without hope. I thought it would help me better focus my corporate social responsibility programs." Anna listened in silence, processing every word.
Because in the end, as Anna learned, we don't need to be extraordinary heroes to change the world. We just need to be people willing to do the right thing, one decision at a time, one gesture at a time, one share blanket at a time. But Anna was different. Rodrigo continued. "I wasn't acting. The cold was real, the desperation was real, and when you approached, when you gave me your blanket without asking questions, without judging, without expecting anything in return, that was also real." "Do you know what that blanket meant to me?" Anna asked, with a broken voice. Rodrigo lowered his gaze. "Now I do. I've researched Otomi textiles. I understand it was something special. It was the only thing I had left from my grandmother. The only thing." Anna felt tears accumulating in her eyes. "I gave it to a stranger because I thought he needed it more than me. But you have more money than I'll see in my entire life." The silence stretched between them like an abyss. "You're right to be angry," Rodrigo finally said. "But there's something else you need to know." Anna wasn't sure she wanted to hear more revelations. That video that went viral, I was the one who posted it. If Anna had felt betrayed before, now she felt completely used. "Why?" she asked, with more sadness than anger in her voice. "Because what you did that night changed something in me. I realized that all my social programs, all my donations, all my charity projects, were empty. They were the alms I gave from my ivory tower to feel better about myself." Rodrigo leaned forward, seeking Anna's gaze. "Your gesture was pure, not calculated, not planned. It wasn't seeking recognition or benefit. It was simply human, and I needed the world to see it. I needed people to remember what true compassion looks like." Anna remained silent for several minutes. Part of her wanted to get up and leave. Another part, the nurse in her, recognized something genuine in Rodrigo's words. "What do you want from me now?" she finally asked. "Your help, your perspective, your knowledge of what people really need." Rodrigo took a deep breath. "I want to do something real, something that really changes lives. But I can't do it alone from my office. I need someone like you, someone like me, someone who understands what it means to live with little, someone who sees homeless people as human beings, not as statistics, someone who's willing to give the only valuable thing they have to a complete stranger." Anna felt as if she were at the edge of a precipice. Part of her wanted to trust, wanted to believe that something good could come from such a confusing situation. Another part screamed at her that she had been manipulated, used for a social experiment by someone rich and bored. "What kind of help?" she asked, surprising herself by asking the question. "Mobile clinics, free medical care for homeless people, shelters that actually work, social reintegration programs designed by people who understand real needs." The proposal sounded ambitious. Too ambitious. "You don't know me," Anna said. "You don't know if I'm the right person for something like this. I know you gave your most precious blanket to a stranger on a winter night. That's all I need to know. Have you ever been in a situation where someone asks you to trust them after lying to you? How do you decide if a second chance is worth the risk?" Anna spent several days without responding to Rodrigo. Every time she thought about his proposal, she debated between hope and distrust. At the hospital, she saw daily the consequences of extreme poverty: malnourished children,
elderly people who arrived in deplorable conditions, people who postponed medical treatments because they couldn't afford them. If there was a real opportunity to help change that, didn't she have a moral obligation to try? Finally, she decided to give him a chance. They met at a modest office that Rodrigo had rented specifically for the project. Nothing like the luxury of the hotel where they had met the first time. I didn't want you to feel intimidated, he explained, when Anna commented on the simplicity of the place. Anna appreciated the gesture, but remained cautious. If we're going to do this, she said, it has to be for real. It can't be another social experiment for your conscience. Words don't mean much coming from someone who disguised himself as a homeless person for months. Rodrigo accepted the criticism without defending himself. During the following weeks, they began planning the project together. Anna contributed her medical knowledge and her experience working with vulnerable populations. Rodrigo provided the financial resources and the necessary contacts to make things possible. Little by little, Anna began to see that Rodrigo seemed genuinely committed. He not only arrived punctually to all meetings, but asked intelligent questions, took detailed notes, and most importantly, really listened to what she had to say. One day, while reviewing the plans for the first mobile clinic, they were joined by a young man named Enrique Delgado. Rodrigo introduced him as a social worker specialized in indigenous communities.
Enrique has worked on Otomi, Mixtec, and Nahua villages for the past 80 years, Rodrigo explained. I thought his perspective could be valuable for the project. Anna felt impressed by the addition. Enrique was a man of about 30 years, with an easy smile and a way of speaking that conveyed wisdom gained through experience. I've heard about your story, Enrique told Anna during their first meeting. About the Otomi blanket. My grandmother also weaves blankets like that. Each pattern has a meaning. Each color tells a story. Anna felt an immediate connection with Enrique. Finally, there was someone in the project who really understood the symbolic value of what she had given that night. The problem with many social programs, Enrique commented during one of their meetings, is that they're designed from the outside in. People with resources decide what people without resources need, without really asking them. His words resonated deeply with Anna. It was exactly what she had felt for years working at the hospital, seeing how public health policies were designed in elegant offices, without consulting those who really needed them. What do you suggest? Rodrigo asked. That we start by listening, that we go to the communities, that we talk to people, that we understand not only what they need but how they want to receive it. Anna nodded vigorously. At the hospital I've seen how patients reject treatments not because they don't need them, but because the way they're offered seems degrading or disrespectful to them. During the following days, the three began visiting different areas of the city where homeless people concentrated. They didn't arrive with prefabricated proposals, but with genuine questions. Anna was surprised to discover how many complex stories existed behind each person living on the streets. They weren't simply vagrants or drug addicts as society often labeled them. They were people with stories of job loss, untreated mental health problems, broken families, domestic violence, discrimination based on sexual orientation, lack of identity documents. Each story is a world, Anna commented one night, after having spent the day listening to testimonies. And each world needs a different solution, Enrique added. Rodrigo, for his part, seemed genuinely impacted by what he was learning. Anna watched him during conversations, and saw in his eyes something she hadn't seen that first night at the hotel, real humility. One afternoon, while talking with an elderly man who lived under a bridge near downtown, the man recognized Rodrigo. Hey, you're the one who used to dress like a poor person a few months ago, right? Anna felt how Rodrigo tensed. Yes, Rodrigo admitted. That was me. And what, was it some kind of game for you? The question was direct, without malice, but with a brutal honesty that cut through the air. At first maybe it was, Rodrigo responded after a moment, but not anymore. The elderly man studied him for a moment, then nodded. That's okay. We all have to learn somehow. What's important is that you're here now, asking real questions. That conversation marked a turning point for Anna. She realized that her anger toward Rodrigo had begun to transform into something more complex. It wasn't forgiveness exactly, but a kind of acceptance that people could change, grow, learn from their mistakes. Do you think it's possible to forgive someone who lied to you if their subsequent actions demonstrate genuine change? After weeks of research and planning, they finally launched the first mobile clinic. It was a truck adapted with basic medical equipment, essential medications, and a small office where Anna could see patients. The first day was chaotic. Word spread quickly among homeless communities, and more people arrived than they had anticipated. Anna worked from early morning until late at night, treating everything from simple infections to complicated cases that required hospital referral. Enrique was in charge of translating when people who spoke indigenous languages arrived, and also explaining treatments in culturally appropriate ways. Rodrigo, for his part, took care of logistics, maintaining medication inventory, coordinating referrals to other services, handling administrative aspects. At the end of the first day, all three were exhausted but exhilarated.
We saw 43 people, Ana reported, with a tired smile. Many of them hadn't seen a doctor in months, some in years. And most importantly, Enrique added, is that they came of their own free will. We weren't imposing help on them. They decided to trust us. Rodrigo remained quiet, but Ana could see in his face a satisfaction different from anything she had seen in him before. What are you thinking? She asked him. That I never thought 43 healings could feel more important than any multi-million-dollar business I've ever closed. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity.
The mobile clinic began visiting different areas of the city on a regular schedule. Ana had to negotiate with her supervisor at the hospital to reduce her working hours, which meant less income, but more time for the project. The community response was overwhelmingly positive. Not only did people come seeking medical attention, but many volunteered to help with simple tasks, maintaining order in lines, helping with translations, sharing information about the program with others. However, not everything was perfect. One morning, Ana arrived at the project office and found Rodrigo on a very tense phone call. No, Celeste, that wasn't the agreement, he was saying, pacing back and forth. The money is for the social program, not for company marketing. Ana tried not to listen, but it was hard to ignore the conversation. I don't care what the board of directors says. This project is not a publicity strategy. When Rodrigo hung up, he looked frustrated and tired. Problems? Ana asked. My business partner in one of the companies wants to use the mobile clinic project as a marketing campaign for the company. She wants to put logos, hold media events, invite politicians. Ana felt a knot in her stomach. And what do you think? I think that would ruin everything we've built. People come to our clinics because they trust that we really want to help, not because we're seeking publicity. Ana felt relieved to hear that answer, but also worried. How much power does your partner have over the project's funding? Too much, Rodrigo admitted. Her company is one of the main investors in the fund we're using for the clinics. During the following days, tension mounted. Celeste Vázquez, Rodrigo's partner, began making unannounced appearances at project sites. She was a woman of about 50, impeccably dressed, with a practiced smile and a way of speaking that made everything sound like a business transaction. Ana, right? She said during one of her visits. I've heard a lot about you. The nurse who became famous for helping a homeless person. The way she said homeless person made Ana tense up. I just did what any decent person would have done, Ana responded. Oh, but that's exactly what makes your story so powerful for our promotional purposes. People identify with everyday acts of kindness. Enrique, who had been listening to the conversation, intervened. Excuse me, Mrs. Vázquez, but I don't think Ana is interested in being used for promotional purposes. Celeste gave Enrique a cold look. And you are the dismissive way she pronounced the words made Ana feel deep anger. Enrique is our community relations coordinator, she said firmly, and his work has been essential to the project's success. Of course, Celeste said, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Everyone has their place on the team. After Celeste left, Ana, Rodrigo and Enrique remained silent for several minutes. I don't like that woman, Ana finally said. Neither do I, Rodrigo admitted. But we need her funding to continue. Do we really? Enrique asked. Or do we need to find another way to fund the project? Rodrigo became thoughtful. Let me make some calls. Maybe we can reorganize the investments. But things got complicated more quickly than anyone had anticipated. A week later, Ana arrived at the office and found Rodrigo pal, with a pile of legal documents on his desk. What's wrong? She asked. Celeste, she's used project documents to justify marketing expenses for her company to the tax authorities. She's been diverting money from the mobile clinics to her advertising accounts. Ana felt like she had been punched in the stomach. How much money? Almost half of what we've spent in the last 2 months. Enrique arrived at that moment and immediately saw that something was wrong. What happened? Rodrigo explained the situation to him. Enrique listened in silence, but Ana could see frustration growing in his face. This is exactly what always happens, he finally said. Rich people play with social projects as if they were their toys, and when they get bored or need money for something else, they simply abandon them. His words hit Ana like a slap of reality. She had allowed herself to believe that this project was different, that Rodrigo was different. But maybe Enrique was right. What are we going to do? Ana asked. We're going to fight, Rodrigo said with determination. I'm going to report Celeste for embezzlement. I'm going to recover every peso she stole from the project. And in the meantime, Enrique asked, the clinics need medications, fuel, maintenance. People count on us. Ana looked at both men, then made a decision that surprised even herself. I can cover basic expenses for a few weeks, she said. I have some savings. Rodrigo looked at her with surprise. Ana, you can't do that. It's your personal money. It's our project, Ana responded. And there are people who depend on us. I'm not gonna leave them without medical attention because of your ex-partner's power games. Enrique smiled for the first time in days. You know what?
I know some community organizations that could help with small donations. It won't be much money, but we could keep the basics running. Ana felt a warmth in her chest. Despite all the complications, despite Celeste's betrayal, despite the doubts about Rodrigo, there was something beautiful in seeing how ordinary people were willing to sacrifice for a project they believed in. Have you ever had to choose between your personal financial security and something you believe in deeply? How did you make that decision? During the following weeks, Ana discovered a strength in herself that she didn't know she had. She reduced her expenses to the absolute minimum, used her savings to keep the clinics running, and worked even more hours at the hospital to compensate for the economic loss. Enrique kept his promise. Small donations arrived from community organizations, church groups, local service clubs. They were never large amounts, but added together they allowed them to maintain the essentials, basic medications, fuel for the trucks, and the minimum materials needed. Rodrigo, for his part, was immersed in a legal battle with Celeste. He had hired lawyers, filed complaints, and was trying to recover the diverted funds. But legal processes were slow, and meanwhile the project had to continue. One afternoon, while Ana was seeing patients at one of the mobile clinics, an elderly woman arrived with her grandson. The boy, about 8 years old, had an ear infection that was clearly causing him a lot of pain. Ana examined him carefully and prescribed antibiotics. When she finished the treatment, the grandmother approached her with tears in her eyes. "Doctor, I don't have money to pay you." "Don't worry," Ana responded. "The consultation is free. But you're helping us. There has to be something I can do." The woman took a small wooden carved figure from her bag. It was an angel with extended wings, carved with much detail and love. "My husband made it before he died," she said. "It's the only valuable thing I have, but I want you to have it." Ana felt a lump in her throat. "I can't accept that. It's too valuable to you." "That's precisely why I want you to have it. Because it's valuable. Because you're doing something valuable for us." Ana took the small figure in her hands. It was beautiful, carved with precision and care that could be felt in every curve of the wood. "Thank you," she murmured, unable to keep her voice from breaking. That night, Ana arrived home carrying more than medications and medical equipment. She carried stories. She carried gratitude. She carried the certainty that she was doing something that really mattered. But she also carried exhaustion. Physical exhaustion from the long days, emotional exhaustion from constantly worrying about funding, and mental exhaustion from having to make difficult decisions every day. That same night, she received an unexpected call. "Ana, it's Rodrigo. Can you come to the office early tomorrow morning? There's something important I need to show you." The next day, Ana found Rodrigo at the office, accompanied by a man she didn't know. He was an older gentleman, elegantly dressed, but with a warmth in his eyes that contrasted with the coldness she had seen in Celeste. "Ana, let me introduce you to Don Fernando Castillo. He's a businessman, but also a philanthropist. He's been following our work." Don Fernando stood up to greet Ana with a genuine smile. "It's an honor to meet you, Miss Martinez. I've heard a lot about your dedication to the project." Ana felt both flattered and cautious. She had already learned to be careful with rich people who showed interest in the project. "Nice to meet you, Don Fernando. How can we help you?" "Actually, it's the other way around. I would like to help you." Don Fernando explained that he had been observing the mobile clinic work for several weeks. He had spoken with some of the patients who had been treated, and had been impressed not only with the quality of medical service, but with the respect and dignity with which they treated each person. "In my 50 years of experience in business and philanthropy," he said, "I've seen many social projects. Most are designed to make donors feel good, not to really help beneficiaries. But what you're doing is different." Ana exchanged glances with Rodrigo. "Different how?" she asked. "You really listen to people. You don't arrive with prefabricated solutions. You take the time to understand real needs. And most importantly, you treat each person as a complete human being, not as a problem to solve." Don Fernando paused. "My wife died last year. At the end of her life, she spent a lot of time in public hospitals. She saw firsthand how the health system treats poor people."
She would have liked to know about your work, Miss Martinez. Ana felt an immediate connection with the pain in Don Fernando's voice. "I'm so sorry for your loss," she said sincerely. "Thank you. She left me a foundation and the mission to use it to really help people. Not to feel good about myself, but to make a real difference." Rodrigo leaned forward. "What are you proposing to us, Don Fernando?" "Stable funding for the project. No advertising conditions. No hidden agendas. No interference in your working methods." Ana felt like she couldn't breathe for a moment. "Are you serious?" "Completely serious. I've reviewed your numbers. I've seen your fieldwork. I've talked to your beneficiaries. This project deserves real support." During the following days, Ana felt overwhelmed by a mixture of relief, gratitude, and a strange sense of disbelief. After weeks of worrying about money, using her own savings, working double shifts to keep the project afloat, a solution finally appeared. But part of her remained cautious.
What do you think? She asked Enrique while reviewing the documents Don Fernando had presented. It seems legitimate, Enrique responded. I've researched his foundation. They have a solid track record of supporting community projects without interfering in their operation. And what do you think, Rodrigo? Ana asked. Rodrigo had been quiet during most of the discussions about Don Fernando's proposal. I think it's exactly what we need, he finally said. But I also think it's ironic. Ironic. For months I tried to convince you to trust me, because I had money and resources. And now that you've really seen my commitment to the project, when we finally build something real together, someone else appears with the resources I couldn't keep secure. Ana realized that Rodrigo felt like a failure, because of the situation with Celeste. Rodrigo, money was never the most important part of your contribution to the project, wasn't it? No. The most important thing was that you were willing to listen, to learn, to take second place when necessary, to work without seeking credit. Ana paused, and the most important thing was that when you had to choose between the comfort of working with Celeste and doing the right thing, you chose to do the right thing even though it cost you. Enrique nodded. Rodrigo, I've worked with many rich people who wanted to help poor communities. Most want to control everything, want constant thanks, want the project to reflect their ideas of what help should be. You never did that. Ana saw how Rodrigo's eyes filled with something that seemed like relief. Thank you, he murmured. Both of you. You don't know what it means to hear that. With stable funding secured, the project began to grow in ways Ana had never imagined. They were able to buy a second mobile clinic, hire more medical staff, and expand the range of services they offered. But what was most important to Ana was that they could maintain the philosophy that had made the project special from the beginning. Listening to people, respecting them, treating them with dignity. One afternoon, while Ana was finishing seeing the last patients of the day, Enrique approached with a mysterious smile. Ana, there's someone who wants to see you. Ana looked up and saw an elderly woman, about 70 years old, who wore a colorful shawl and a shy smile. Yes, how can I help you? The woman approached and extended something wrapped in a cotton cloth to her. Are you Dr. Ana, the one who helped the gentleman who lived on the street? Ana nodded, intrigued. The woman unwrapped the cloth and Ana felt her heart stop. It was her blanket. The otomi blanket her grandmother had woven. The same patterns, the same vibrant colors, the same design Ana had memorized since childhood. How? Ana murmured, unable to finish the question. Mr. Rodrigo brought it to me a few weeks ago, the woman explained. He asked me to weave one just like it. He told me it was for a very special person who had made a great sacrifice. Ana took the blanket with trembling hands. The fabric was new, but the patterns were identical. Every stitch, every color, every symbol was exactly in its place. It took me 3 weeks to finish it, the woman continued. I had to find the exact threads, get natural dyes. My granddaughter helped me with the more complicated patterns. Ana looked up and saw Rodrigo standing a few meters away, watching the scene with a nervous smile. Ana asked him, with her voice broken by emotion, because you never should have lost something so important for helping someone like me, Rodrigo responded, and because I wanted you to know that your gesture that night wasn't lost. It multiplied. Ana couldn't contain her tears. She hugged the blanket against her chest, feeling not only the warmth of the wool, but the weight of all the months of work, of all the people they had helped, of all the community they had built together. But there's something more, the elderly woman said, interrupting the emotional moment. Ana looked at her with curiosity. Yes, this design, it's a special pattern. In my village we say it brings good luck to whoever gives it, and whoever receives it. But they also say that when a blanket like this fulfills its purpose, it must return home. Ana felt a chill. My grandmother used to say something similar. It's likely our grandmothers knew each other. Patterns like these are passed from generation to generation, from village to village. Each blanket carries the stories of all the women who have woven before. Ana realized she was holding not only a replica of her grandmother's blanket, but a connection with generations of women who had used their hands to create beauty, to give warmth, to show love. Have you ever received a gift that meant much more than the object itself? Something that connected you with your history, with your family, with who you really are. The following months were like a dream for Ana. The mobile clinic project had become something much bigger than she had imagined. They had 4 clinics operating in different areas of the city, a team of 12 health professionals, and had treated more than 2,000 people. But what satisfied Ana most wasn't the statistics, but the individual stories. Like that of Doña Maria, the diabetic lady who had learned to care for her illness and now helped other patients with diabetes, or that of Carlos, the young man who had overcome an addiction and now worked as a translator at the clinics when people who didn't speak Spanish arrived. One morning, Ana received a call on her personal phone. It was a voice she didn't initially recognize. Ana Martinez, this is Dr. Alejandro Fuentes, Director of General Hospital. Ana felt a knot in her stomach. It was her boss at the hospital where she worked as a nurse. "Good morning, doctor. How can I help you?" "Anna, I've been following your work with the mobile clinics. What you've achieved is impressive." Anna felt surprised. She didn't know the hospital director knew about her work on the project. "Thank you, doctor. I'd like to propose something to you. We're creating a new position as coordinator of community services for the hospital. You would be responsible for developing medical care programs for vulnerable populations. Essentially, we would be institutionalizing the type of work you're already doing." Anna was speechless. "The salary would be considerably better than your current position as a nurse," the doctor continued. "And you would have hospital resources to expand the program's reach." "Doctor, I don't know what to say. It's an incredible opportunity. Take the time you need to think about it. But I'd like you to know that the hospital's board of directors is very impressed with your work. We consider that you have exactly the type of experience and perspective we need for this position." After hanging up, Anna sat in her office, processing the call. It was the type of professional opportunity she had never dreamed of having. Better salary, more resources, institutional recognition, job security. But it would also mean less time for the mobile clinics, less direct contact with patients, more time in offices and administrative meetings. When Rodrigo arrived that afternoon, Anna told him about the hospital's offer. "It's an incredible opportunity," Rodrigo said immediately. "You could impact many more people from an institutional position. But it would also mean less time here, less direct work in the clinics. Anna, you've proven you can create programs that work. Imagine what you could do with the resources of an entire hospital." Enrique, who had been listening to the conversation, had a different perspective. "The question isn't what you could do with more resources," he said. "The question is what type of work makes you feel most fulfilled." That night, Anna returned to her apartment with her mind full of doubts. She sat on her sofa, with the otomi blanket Rodrigo had woven spread over her legs, and tried to imagine her life in each of the two scenarios. In one, she saw herself in an elegant office, coordinating large programs, managing considerable budgets, attending meetings with hospital executives. It was respectable, secure, well paid. In the other, she saw herself in the mobile clinics, seeing patients one by one, listening to their stories, looking for personalized solutions for each situation. It was uncertain, sometimes financially precarious, but deeply satisfying. How do you choose between security and passion, between what's convenient for you and what fills your soul? Anna spent several days without being able to decide.
She talked to buena friends, buena family, even when as a regular patient from the mobile clinics. Her mother advised her to take the hospital position. "Mija, you're 32 years old. You need to think about your future, about having a decent pension, about being able to buy a house." Her younger brother told her the opposite. "Anna, I've seen you work at the clinics. I'd never seen you so happy doing something. Money is important, but it's not everything." Enrique shared the story from his own experience with her. 6 years ago I had a similar opportunity. An international NGO offered me a very well-paid position to coordinate projects in several Latin American countries. It was my professional dream in theory. What happened? I turned it down, and I don't regret it. I would have earned much more money, would have had an impressive title, would have traveled the world, but I also would have lost direct contact with communities, would have spent more time on planes and in hotels than doing real work. Anna reflected on Enrique's words. "But don't you sometimes wonder what would have happened if you had accepted?" "Of course I do. But I also know that the decisions we make turn us into who we are. If I had accepted that job, maybe I'd be richer now, but I wouldn't have been here when you and Rodrigo needed help for the project." Rodrigo had a different conversation with Anna. "Do you know what impressed me most about you that night when you gave me your blanket?" he asked her. "What? It wasn't just that you were generous. It was that you made a decision in a moment, without calculating the consequences. You didn't stop to think if I deserved help, if you could afford to lose the blanket, if someone was going to recognize your gesture." Anna listened attentively. "You simply saw someone who needed help and acted from the heart. That's the most valuable quality you have. And it's what has made this project work. Are you suggesting I turn down the hospital offer? I'm suggesting you make the decision the same way you made the decision to give me your blanket. From the heart, without calculating too much." A week after receiving the original call, Anna phoned Dr. Fuentes. "Doctor, I've thought a lot about your offer. And what's your decision? I'm very grateful for the opportunity, but I have to decline it." There was silence on the other end of the line. "Are you sure, Anna? It's an opportunity that might not come again." "I'm sure. My place is in the mobile clinics, working directly with patients. I respect that, although I don't completely understand it. If you ever change your mind, this door will remain open." After hanging up, Anna felt relieved. She had chosen uncertainty over security, passion over convenience. That afternoon, when she arrived at the clinics, she found the entire team gathered in the main office. There were balloons, a cake,
and a banner that said "Thank you for choosing to stay with us." "How did you know?" Ana began. "Rodrigo told us about the hospital offer," Enrique explained, "and we all voted. If you stayed, we'd have a party. If you left, we'd also have a party, but a sad one." Ana burst into laughter, feeling a warmth in her chest that no salary could have given her. But life, as always, had more surprises in store. 2 months after turning down the hospital offer, Ana received an unexpected invitation. The International Red Cross was organizing a congress on community medical care in Latin America, and they wanted Ana to present the mobile clinic model as a case study. "It's incredible recognition," Rodrigo told her when Ana showed him the invitation. "Health professionals from all of Latin America are going to attend." Ana felt nervous and excited at the same time. "I've never given such an important presentation." "You're going to talk about something you know better than anyone in the world," Enrique assured her. "Just tell the story of what we've done here." The conference was held a month later at an elegant hotel in Mexico City. Ana had prepared her presentation carefully, but when the time came to speak in front of an audience of more than 300 people, she felt her hands trembling. She began by telling the story of that winter night when she met Rodrigo. She talked about the Otomi blanket, the viral video, the first mobile clinics, but above all she talked about the people they had served, the stories they had heard, the lessons they had learned. "What we've discovered," Ana said near the end of her presentation, "is that the most effective medicine isn't the one with the most advanced technology or the most expensive medications. It's the one that treats each person as a complete human being, with dignity, with respect, with time to listen." The audience interrupted her with applause before she finished. "We've served more than 3,000 people in the last 8 months, Ana continued. "But the number isn't what's important.